Hi everyone, today I'll be following up from the previous video about the Blood Reaver nerf for ranged. As a quick summary for that video, using the same build before the nerf, these were my times for these bosses. In this video, I would like to talk about what I changed up to improve the big arrow poison build. The first thing I want to make clear is I dropped Vampirism Aura for Inspiration Aura, which pushed my care pack time average from 430 to 410, with 354 being my best time. With the aura I am using established, I want to take a look at the Blood Reaver again. Before anyone says it's dead, I want to say Blood Reaver is still the only familiar that can do damage and still be able to heal you at the same time. Currently, there isn't an endgame familiar that does the same. If this is something you seek, Blood Reaver is exactly this. With the primary focus being big arrows, I went and tried these three familiars, starting with the Swamp Titan. I thought to myself, it might not be an ancient summon, but it is a familiar that can poison targets. Maybe if it's stacked with big arrows, it could be viable. That's what I thought until my best time was around 410, but the worst being 5 at hard mode carryback. Without needing to go into detail, that's a no. Goodbye. Next is Calgarian Demon. 6% crit chance with an attacking familiar is very decent. With the help of Inspiration Aura, I found Adrenaline Management to be much more manageable than when I did Vampirism, so I was able to incorporate a dead shot every now and then without worrying about not having enough adrenaline for it. My average time is closer to 350 with my best time being 334. Even if I make a mistake, my kills usually aren't slower than 410. This makes the kill much faster than with Blood Reaver, which is already a significant boost. I might lose healing, but the time war mechanic and the opportunities to heal make up for it. But on phase 4, I just had to be a bit more tactical with my Vit pot without the Blood Reaver. Instead of wasting my Vitality pot early on, I used it once I have taken out 2 of the time clones, which buys me a lot more time. And I will follow that up with a double devotion and a death swiftness. So for hard mode hero pack, goodbye Reaver. What about Ripper Demon? So far everything I talked about with the Calgarian Demon actually had nothing to do with Calgarian. Ripper Demons with scrolls is historically more damage than the Calgarian, right? But no, the problem with the Ripper Demon at hard mode Carapack is because Carapack's HP resets, which makes the passive effect of Ripper Demon less effective. I also do not spam pots to refresh the Ripper Demon's scroll attack, which makes Calgarian a bit more resource saving. Regardless, I still averaged between 350 to 410 with the Ripper Demon. Instead, I went with Ambassador and had more interesting results. With the Blood Reaver, I still averaged around 310 to 320, but with both Ripper Demon and Calgarian, I also still averaged between 310 and 320, until I finally broke it with Calgarian, with my best time being 254. With the way I do Ambassador, unlike Carapack where my HP can get reset from the Time War, and there are more downtime for me to primarily soul split without taking any damage, Ambassador rarely has this opportunity besides the spinners. This makes the phase where minions start spawning become more risky to use ECP spec, and hopefully you don't get overwhelmed. Because I'm not very good at prayer flicking, this will be my assumption why I benefited a lot from the Reaver heals when I can heal back 1k HP to lessen the risk. Whereas with Calgarian and Ripper Demon, I have to hope I do enough damage quickly enough to not be overwhelmed. I could not achieve this, and eventually I tried to throw a Saradomin Bow in between and the problem disappeared. That is how I got my 254 kill. The debate between Ripper Demon and Calgarian isn't the main focus of this video. For now, the point of them being marginally better than the Blood Reaver in terms of DPS is the important part. What the Reaver nerf did was forcing me to adapt and find other ways to substitute the loss of healing at a place like Ambassador. You're going to either have to substitute that with another healing sword, whether that be Bloodburst, Bruise, or something else, or instead of auto-firing your Reaver, manually start using the scrolls, and you choose when is a good time to use it if you are going to continue to use Reaver. Even though I have always manually used my Reaver, there were always times where I didn't need a healing at all, and I wasted it. After adapting and being upset about the changes, my final thoughts on the Blood Reaver is that Blood Reaver is better suited as a manually controlled healing familiar that still at least attacks. While it is no longer useful as a buff to poison build, you can still get away with using the typical familiars like Calgarian or Ripper Demon. Do I wish there was more variety in familiars to use than these two? Absolutely. especially one for a dedicated poison build. Do I think Blood Reaver Nerf was necessary? I do think so, because it was too reliable as an auto-fire healing. At the same time, I think it was nerfed too harshly. If there was one thing I think that could change is to bring the cooldown timer to be shorter than 3 seconds, maybe 2 seconds. That way, you can still spam it, but when you need to refresh it with pots to continue spamming it. And also, add a poison familiar. And that wraps up my final thoughts on the Blood Reaver nerf. If there's anything you agree or disagree with or want to discuss, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.